They say love cannot be bought, but somewhere in this world, for the price of a cup of coffee, you can. $9. That's all it takes to turn a woman's life into a receipt, a promise into property, a heartbeat into merchandise. I once thought such stories belonged to ancient times, to forgotten corners of the earth. But I was wrong. I have seen them in narrow alleys and vast deserts, under neon lights and inside silent huts, places where marriage is no longer born of choice, but of survival. I've walked through slums and palaces, through streets where gold glitters beside hunger, where weddings smell of perfume and dust in the same breath. And in all those journeys, I've learned this. When love is priced, it stops being love. It becomes a transaction, a desperate currency for those who have nothing left to trade but themselves. Tonight, I'll take you across continents, through Malaysia's bustling bride markets, across the border villages of China, where girls vanish into silence, into Egypt's alleyways, where love expires with a signature, and deep into Africa, where cattle replace vows. We'll see the laughter of festivals in Bulgaria, the haunting quiet of Sudan's plains, the brutal paradox of India's weddings, and finally, the quiet despair that hangs over the mountains of Afghanistan. Each place is different, each wound its own shape, but beneath them all lies one truth, that humanity has learned to trade even the sacred. This is not a story of scandal. It is a story of survival, of systems too old to break, of hearts that still dare to dream inside cages of tradition. So if you choose to stay, listen not with judgment, but with silence. The kind that understands, not condemns. Because somewhere, right now, a man is counting cows to pay for a bride. And somewhere else, a girl is sewing her wedding dress, unaware that her price has already been agreed. Welcome to Fascinating Discoveries. Stay until the end. And if what you hear makes you think, share this journey, subscribe, and let's keep searching together for the things money should never buy. Number 8. Afghanistan. The Daughters of the Mountains. Afghanistan, a land carved by mountains and memory. A place where time itself seems trapped between beauty and sorrow. Here, love is not written in letters or poems. It is written in price. They call it walwar, the bride price, a tradition older than the borders that divide this land. For some, it's honor. For others, a sentence. In the villages scattered across the Hindu Kush, a daughter's worth is counted in cash, in sheep, in promises. Sometimes the amount reaches thousands, sometimes only $9. I once met a father who sold his 13-year-old daughter to pay a debt. He looked tired, hollowed by hunger and regret. I had no choice, he said. The winter was coming. He showed me his cracked hands, the hands of a man who had tilled barren soil too long. She will live better with him. His voice broke on that last word. Better. I never met the girl, but I saw her dress, folded neatly in a corner, pale blue with small silver beads, like frozen tears. In Afghanistan, marriages are arranged not by hearts, but by necessity. Many girls are promised before they learn to read, married before they stop being children. Their husbands may be soldiers, farmers, or strangers. Love, if it appears at all, arrives much later, timid and cautious, like a bird landing on barbed wire. A local teacher once told me, "Here, women belong to men. First their fathers, then their husbands, then their sons." He said it without cruelty, just the quiet acceptance of a truth too heavy to fight. And yet, amid the dust and despair, I found moments of defiance. A girl named Yasmina, 16, spoke to me in whispers. "I want to be a doctor," she said, "but my father says my mind is too loud." Her eyes burned brighter than the fire beside us. "One day I will heal women like me." She smiled then, not the smile of hope, but of resistance. The next morning, her family moved her to another province. I never saw her again. Afghanistan is a country that bleeds poetry, even in pain. Men recite verses under the stars while their daughters' lives are traded like livestock. The paradox is unbearable. A people capable of such beauty and such sorrow in the same breath. In Kabul, I watched a wedding convoy pass. Cars honking, drums beating, laughter spilling from every window. Yet when the bride stepped out, her eyes did not lift. She moved like a shadow wrapped in silk. The world cheered, but she was already somewhere else, somewhere beyond the noise, beyond the bargain. As night fell over the mountains, I sat alone near the ruins of an old fort. The wind howled through broken stones like a voice too tired to pray. And I thought, perhaps the saddest thing is not that love is sold, but that it is accepted as normal. When I left Afghanistan, the driver said softly, "You've seen too much, haven't you?" I smiled, though it didn't reach my eyes. Maybe not enough. Number 7. India, the dowry of fire and gold. India, a land where love is celebrated like a festival, and yet, so often, it burns. Here, weddings are not events, they are spectacles. Days of color, music, and food that could feed an entire village. The bride glows in red and gold. The groom rides through the streets like a prince, and for a moment, everything looks divine. But behind that brilliance lies a darker arithmetic. Because in India, love too has a price, not in cows or coins, but in dowry. Though outlawed decades ago, the custom never truly vanished. It only learned to hide behind smiles. Parents still whisper it during negotiations. A little gift, a car, some gold. And the bride's family, fearing shame, agrees. I once attended a wedding in Haryana. The band played so loudly that even the stars seemed to tremble. The groom arrived on a white horse, draped in silk. The bride, small, quiet, radiant, walked toward him with trembling hands. But what the crowd didn't see was that she had been bought. Her family couldn't afford the dowry demanded by local men, so they found her a husband from another state, a transaction, not a union. She was 19. He was 42. Later, as fireworks lit up the sky, I caught a glimpse of her face, calm, resigned, as if her fate had been decided long before the ceremony began. In India's northern villages, where sons are favored and daughters seen as burdens, millions of men cannot find wives. The imbalance has created a silent trade. Women bought from poorer regions, sometimes from neighboring countries. Their worth? Often less than $50. And for those already married, the danger continues. Each year, thousands of women die in so-called kitchen accidents, a polite term for dowry murders. When her family cannot pay more, the matchstick becomes the judge. One mother told me, her voice hollow, "We gave everything we had, but he wanted more." Her daughter's photo hung above the stove, framed in smoke. I stood there for a long time, saying nothing. Because what words can you offer a world where love ends in ashes? India is a land of contradictions, where gods of love are worshipped in temples, yet women are traded like gold. Where poems praise devotion, yet real devotion demands payment. And yet, amid all this, I have seen true love, quiet, defiant, enduring. A husband washing his wife's feet at dawn, a bride refusing dowry, walking away from wealth to keep her dignity intact. These are the small rebellions that keep the country breathing. At a roadside tea stall, an old man once told me, "Love in India is like our monsoon. It comes late, it floods everything, and it always leaves behind something broken and something green." Perhaps he was right. Because love here is never simple. It is both wound and worship. Number 6. Sudan. The $9 bride. In Sudan, the sun never hides. It burns everything equally: the land, the skin, and sometimes the soul. Here, love is not measured in words or gestures, but in cattle, in coins, in survival. In a village near the White Nile, I watched a wedding unfold. The drums echoed through the plain, the air thick with smoke and dust. A girl, 14, maybe 15, stood still beside her mother. Her dress hung loose on her thin frame. Her eyes were steady, but they did not smile. The men nearby laughed, clapping shoulders, counting cows. $9? That was the price agreed upon. The groom, a man twice her age, handed over the payment with a grin. A few goats, a handful of bills. A transaction disguised as celebration. They called it tradition. I called it silence wearing a mask of song. In Sudan, and its southern twin, South Sudan, daughters are currency. Families trade them not from cruelty, but from hunger. Each girl married means another mouth fed, another debt eased. The fathers tell themselves they are giving her a future. The mothers weep quietly, knowing better. I met one such mother, her hands rough from years of labor. She is lucky, she told me. He will feed her. Her voice was firm, but her eyes trembled. Better married than starving. Her words, I realized, were not justification. They were surrender. When the ceremony began, the bride's face was hidden under layers of white cloth. The drums pounded louder, the chanting rose, and for a brief moment, it almost looked like joy. But when the crowd cheered, she didn't move. She stood still, the desert wind pulling gently at her veil, a child trapped in a ritual too heavy for her small shoulders. $9. That was all it took. Less than a dinner in a city restaurant. Less than the price of a cheap watch. And yet it bought an entire life. I sat with the elders that night under a star-filled sky. They spoke of custom, of heritage, of God. This is how it has always been, one man said. A man must pay, a woman must obey. That is balance. But balance built on pain is not harmony. It is resignation. The fire crackled between us. A single ember rose into the night and vanished against the stars. I thought of that girl, now a wife, tomorrow a mother, and wondered if she would ever know what choice felt like. Sudan is beautiful in the cruelest way, a place where the earth remembers every tear it drinks. And as I packed my camera, I knew that some stories are too old to change. You can only carry them quietly, like scars beneath the dust. When love becomes survival, it stops being love. It becomes endurance. Number 5, Bulgaria, the Roma bride market. In Bulgaria, the season of spring brings flowers, music, and, for some, a price on the future. Here, in the heart of Europe, where the mountains meet the Black Sea and history seeps from every stone, an old tradition still survives. It's called the Roma bride market. Every year, hundreds gather for this strange, dazzling, heartbreaking festival. Young women dressed like movie stars, sequined gowns, high heels, faces glowing with hope and fear, walk among the crowd. Their parents stand close, watching, waiting, negotiating. And the men, they come to choose. I walked among them once, camera in hand, the air thick with perfume and anticipation. Music played, children danced, and behind every smile, I saw calculation. A girl's age, her beauty, her family's reputation, all whispered, all weighed. 10,000 euros, 15, sometimes more. One father leaned toward me and said proudly, "My daughter is worth every cent." He said it the way a man might boast about a rare horse or a fine watch. I didn't know how to answer. To outsiders, this market feels like a relic, a public auction of love in the 21st century. Yet to many Roma families, it is not exploitation, but preservation. A way to keep their culture alive in a world that constantly erases it. Tradition or trade, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. I remember one young woman, Milena. She was 19, her eyes lined with silver glitter, her hands trembling as she held a small bouquet. "I want to study medicine," she told me, "but my parents say this is our way. They say love will come later." Her voice broke on that last word, later. It sounded like hope postponed indefinitely. As the sun dipped low, music swelled and deals were made quietly among the crowd. Fathers shook hands, mothers wiped away tears. A few hours later, the laughter dimmed, the fairgrounds emptied, and silence returned to the hill. Only the discarded ribbons remained, trampled beneath the feet of 1,000 dreams. Tradition, I've learned, is both anchor and chain. It keeps a people rooted, but sometimes it keeps them from growing. In the Roma market, you can see both, the pride of a culture that refuses to disappear, and the pain of women who must bear its weight. As I left, an old violinist played near the edge of the square. His notes were weary, beautiful, and haunting, the sound of history repeating itself. He looked at me and smiled sadly. "This is love, my friend," he said, "beautiful and expensive." I walked away, the echo of his music following me into the night. And as the laughter faded, I thought, maybe love has always been a performance. The tragedy begins when we start selling tickets. Number 4, Southern Africa, the bride price of cattle. In the vast savannas of Southern Africa, marriage begins not with vows, but with cattle. They call it lobola, the bride price. For generations, it has been the symbol of respect, gratitude, and union between families. A man seeking to marry must offer cows to the bride's family, each animal a gesture of honor, a sign that he can provide. But as the world modernized, the meaning blurred. What was once a bond of respect has become, for many, a financial prison. I stood in a rural village in South Africa, where red earth met the horizon, and the air smelled of dust and firewood. A young man, no older than 25, stood beside a small herd. 9 cows, his entire wealth. He was in love, but love alone would not be enough. "The price is 11 cows, the girl's father said. "She is educated, she is beautiful. 11? The young man lowered his head. He had only 9. In that silence, I could feel the weight of centuries pressing down, tradition against tenderness, pride against poverty. A single cow here can cost nearly $500. Multiply that by a dozen, and marriage becomes a luxury. Some men never marry at all, locked out of love by numbers written in someone else's book. Others fall into debt, their lives consumed by payments made in flesh and milk. And for women, lobola is both pride and pain. It honors their worth, but also measures it. Many still say, if no cows are paid, then she was not truly married. In modern cities, money has replaced livestock. Bank transfers now do what herds once did. Yet the symbolism remains. A wife's value still quantified, her love still negotiated. I met a woman named Zanele near Durban. She laughed softly when I asked her thoughts. "My husband paid 10 cows for me," she said. "He jokes that I eat like 11. Then her smile faded. "But sometimes, when he's angry, he reminds me, I paid for you." Her words lingered in the air, raw and honest. Tradition, I thought, is a double-edged sword. It preserves, but it also confines. In the late afternoon, as the sun bled orange over the plains, the herd moved slowly toward the hills. The sound of cowbells echoed, rhythmic, ancient, unbroken. Somewhere nearby, a wedding drum began to beat, deep and soft, like the heartbeat of the land itself. In that moment, I realized, love here is not absent. It simply lives beneath the weight of expectation, quietly, stubbornly, surviving. South Africa stands as a country between two worlds, one foot in modernity, the other anchored in tradition. Between them, the human heart continues to barter, hoping that somewhere in the exchange, something sacred remains. As night fell, I sat by the fire, listening to stories in a language I didn't understand. And I thought, perhaps every culture in its own way puts a price on love. The only difference is the currency. Number 3. Egypt, the $9 marriage. Egypt, the land of pyramids, prophets, and prayers. A civilization that once measured eternity in stone now measures love in small bills. Here, for as little as $9, a man can marry a woman, not for life, but for a contract. They call it temporary marriage. It lasts for days, sometimes weeks, occasionally a month, just long enough for desire to disguise itself as devotion. On the surface, it looks like religion. The contract signed, the witnesses present, the verses recited. But beneath the ritual lies a quiet transaction. A foreign man pays a local family, and for that fee he gains what he wants: companionship, legitimacy, and illusion. For the family, it's survival. For the girl, it's a story she tells herself to make the pain sound holy. I met a young woman once in Giza. Her name was Layla. She couldn't have been more than 20. She smiled politely, her hands clasped around a chipped teacup. "It's not wrong," she said, almost convincing herself. "He helps my family. He was kind." Then she looked down and whispered, "He left after 2 weeks." $9, less than the cost of a single meal in the West. That was the price of her memory. For centuries, Egypt has stood as a symbol of endurance. Empires came and fell, yet its people remained, proud, poetic, faithful. But faith, too, bends beneath poverty. When hunger knocks, even sacred doors are opened to compromise. Some say these marriages protect morality. Better a contract than sin, they argue. But when a woman becomes a contract, when affection is confined to dates on a paper, what happens to the soul of love itself? As the sun set over the Nile, I watched the light flicker against the river. The water shimmered gold, beautiful, deceitful, like hope pretending to be salvation. Nearby, a group of men laughed, counting money, while a broker scribbled names into a ledger. It looked ordinary, almost bureaucratic. But every number written there was a story. Every receipt, a wound. And yet, amid this cycle of exchange, life goes on. Weddings still fill the streets. Music still dances through alleyways. Children still chase after kites in the dusk. Egypt has a way of wearing its tragedies beautifully, like a woman who has learned to smile through her scars. I left that night with the sound of the muezzin echoing through the city. The voice was ancient, trembling, full of longing. And I thought, maybe love here is like the desert itself, vast, silent, waiting for rain that rarely comes. Number 2. China, the border brides. China, vast, ancient, and restless. A country that built walls to keep the world out, and now finds itself surrounded by invisible ones of its own making. For decades, one policy ruled over love itself, the one-child law. A social experiment that tried to control life, but ended up distorting it. Today, millions of men here cannot find wives, not because they lack desire, but because the math no longer adds up. There are simply too many sons and too few daughters. In the borderlands, where China brushes shoulders with Vietnam, Laos, and Myanmar, a new kind of trade has emerged. It doesn't happen in official markets, but in whispers, in the back of vans, in dark rooms where passports are burned and names are forgotten. Here, girls are not born. They are imported. I once stood near a small checkpoint outside Yunnan. The air smelled of diesel and wet earth. A local driver pointed toward the hills and said quietly, "Over there, they come through at night." I asked who. He didn't answer. He only lifted his chin toward a truck passing by, tarpaulin tied down tight, the faint outline of movement beneath it. Most of these girls are from poor villages, promised jobs, education, maybe even love. They cross the border believing in something better. But what waits on the other side is not freedom. It's a cage disguised as marriage. In the countryside, a bride can be purchased for around 18,000 yuan, about $2,600. Some are treated well, others disappear, forced into servitude or sold again to brothels in distant cities. When I asked one villager how such things could happen, he sighed and said, "A man without a wife is not a man." I met a young woman once, rescued after 2 years in captivity. She spoke softly, her voice shaking like paper in the wind. "I just wanted to help my family," she said. "I didn't know I was the payment." Her words stayed with me long after the interview ended. Because behind every trafficked bride lies a trail of desperation, a father's empty field, a mother's debt, a promise that survival is worth any price. China's cities gleam with modernity, but out here in the borderlands, time moves differently. The roads are cracked, the people are weary, and the dream of a better life often comes wrapped in deceit. At night, I walked through a small town square, red lanterns swinging in the wind, children laughing near the fountain. Everything looked peaceful, ordinary. But peace, I've learned, is often just silence holding its breath. Love, here, has become another form of currency, traded across borders, measured in desperation. As I left, the driver who guided me looked at me and said, "You can't stop it. People always buy what they can't have." Maybe he was right. But as the truck engines faded into the night, I couldn't help but think, when love becomes contraband, who is truly free? Number 1. Malaysia. The market of thousands. In the heart of Malaysia, a country of shimmering towers and tangled alleyways, there exists a market that doesn't sell food, fabric, or trinkets, but futures. They call it a marriage market, a place where affection has been replaced by arithmetic. I arrived on a heavy afternoon. The air felt thick enough to hold, perfumed with incense and the smell of fried noodles. In a narrow street between aging walls, posters hung like silent witnesses, faces of young women, each one tagged with numbers: name, age, height, skin tone, price, 2,000 ringgit, 4,000, maybe more. Fairer skin adds value. A quiet smile, too. Education, family background, and even obedience are listed like the features of a household appliance. A few men stand by, flipping through laminated sheets, their eyes measuring futures, not feelings. They call it an investment in happiness. But what kind of happiness comes with a receipt? For some families, it's survival. A daughter's marriage means fewer mouths to feed, maybe even a small dowry to pay off a debt. For others, it's an opportunity, a chance to rise, to send money home, to escape the invisible ceiling of poverty. But whatever the reason, love rarely enters the conversation. What startled me most wasn't the locals, but the foreigners, men from distant countries scrolling through online catalogs, each profile promising beauty, humility, and traditional values. A broker beside me whispered, "Pay more, get more." His tone was casual, like a salesman pitching a product. In one corner, I saw a girl, perhaps 18. She stood beside her mother, silent and small. Her eyes never met mine. They were fixed somewhere beyond the noise, the heat, the endless bargaining, perhaps on a dream she once had. Behind every negotiation here lies a quiet tragedy. People buying love because the world has denied them every other kind of hope. Malaysia is a country of contrasts, where billion-dollar malls shine beside tin-roof homes, and high-speed trains race past villages that still barter for daily bread. In this landscape, the bride market feels both ancient and modern, a collision of survival and shame. When a deal is made, the girl's picture comes down. Her name disappears from the wall, and just like that, she is gone, folded into someone else's life, her story rewritten by a transaction. As I turned to leave, the broker smiled at me and said, "Next time, sir, maybe you find someone too." I didn't answer. My camera lingered on a blank wall where hundreds of faces once hung. The tape marks still there, the dust still clinging, reminders that even when love is sold, something sacred remains missing. Love, I thought, doesn't die from poverty. It dies when it's reduced to a number. I have crossed oceans, deserts, borders, walked through cities where glass towers touch the sky, and villages where mud walls crumble into dust. I have seen love dressed as ritual, as bargain, as burden. And in every corner of the world, I've realized one thing. When love is traded, humanity becomes the collateral. From Malaysia's bustling markets to China's silent border roads, from the alleyways of Cairo to the savannas of Africa, the story repeats itself. Different languages, same pain. In Bulgaria, they dance to the sound of violins while parents haggle over their daughter's worth. In Sudan, goats change hands under a sun that never forgives. In India, gold burns brighter than compassion. And in Afghanistan, girls vanish behind veils of obedience, never to be seen again. It's easy to point fingers, to call these cultures cruel or backward. But the truth, I've learned, is softer and more terrible. Most of the people I met were not villains. They were survivors, trapped in systems older than their names. They didn't sell love because they wanted to. They sold it because hunger demanded it, because society expected it, because silence protected them. And maybe that is what makes it so haunting. The world does not break with cruelty alone. It breaks with quiet acceptance. Love, the most sacred, mysterious force we have, has been repackaged into something measurable. Dowries, contracts, cows, coins. We've forgotten that love was never meant to be owned. It was meant to be shared, like light, like breath. I remember a face in every country. Layla in Egypt, staring at the Nile after her husband left. The young bride in Sudan, trembling under her veil. Milena in Bulgaria, her dreams sold for a promise. Yasmina in Afghanistan, whispering of medicine and freedom. They never asked for pity. They asked only to be seen. And perhaps that is why I keep traveling, because seeing is all I can offer. There are nights I lie awake replaying their voices, the rustle of wedding cloths, the drums, the silence that follows after. I wonder if they ever found peace. I wonder if peace is even possible in a world that turns affection into economy. But sometimes, amid the sorrow, I still find hope, small, fragile, stubborn. In South Africa, I saw a man sell his cattle to buy his wife a house, not as ownership, but as apology. In India, a bride refused dowry and walked hand in hand with her groom down an empty road, laughing. In China, a rescued girl now teaches others to read, her voice steady, unbroken. These moments remind me that love, real love, never fully dies. It survives every sale, every scar, every silence. As I end this journey, I think of something an old woman once told me in a dusty street in Cairo. Love is like water. You can pour it into gold cups or broken clay bowls. It will taste the same. Maybe she was right. Maybe what we've lost isn't love itself, but our way of recognizing it. Maybe the world hasn't changed. Maybe only the way I see it has. Thank you for walking with me, for listening, for staying until the end. If this story moved something in you, share it. Let others see what you've seen. And if you wish to keep traveling, to discover the corners of humanity too often left unseen, stay with us. Subscribe to Fascinating Discoveries, because this journey isn't over, and neither is love.